Welcome to Inside Property. Today we're down in Sheffield with Matt Catherall from Catherall Developments. I've known Matt for a few years now. We're going to discuss all things around property, how the journey started, challenges through developing and everything else in between. Matt, thanks so much for joining us today and hosting us at your brand new offices. How long have you been in here, mate?
Only 1 month actually, so yeah, we moved here earlier this year, refurbed it ourselves, and yeah, so quite new into the property.
Nice. I'd like to strip it back really and start, at the very start. I mean, how did you first get into property? Obviously now you're developing with, Catherall Developments, the owner of the company, but what first sparked the interest and how did you get into property?
Yeah, I think originally, like everyone, planning on exiting sixth form and do I go to university full-time, part-time? And a careers advisor actually came in and started speaking about construction, and they got Bowmer and Kirkland with them, obviously a huge contracting arm. And I think I just loved the fact that it was outdoors, it was seeing something from kind of the start to the finish of completing a project. And that was really where I started looking then at quantity surveying. So that's how I originally got into it. I worked for quite a large company called Capita on the consultancy side, and that was how I started doing a part-time degree at Nottingham Trent University. So I went from in the office 4 days to 1 day every week going down to Nottingham, and that was then I got hooked on it basically. So the initial intro into property was through the quantity surveying route, working on sites, working with main contractors, and then it was a decision about 8 years ago, after obviously building up a time frame and a career, that I decided to get fully involved in property development rather than working on the client side. But yeah, it all stemmed back from the careers advisor at school basically.
Yeah, of course. How long did that journey at university take? Was there any night school involved, or what was that journey like?
There was a lot of hours involved. Yeah, it was basically 1 day a week release over 5 years.
Okay, so it was
quite a long
time
journey.
consuming.
Yeah, and by the end, obviously you're very busy at work because you'd adapted to working in an office environment, working on sites. So you got a day job, but then also you were trying to do your dissertations, do your exams. So by the years 4 and 5, it was quite tough going, a lot of weekends, a lot of hours at night, but enjoyed it, made a lot of good friends from university as well, because we were all on the part-time course, and connections that I've still got today in development. So
yeah, no, brilliant. I think moving on further into your more, development career and, your journey, was it Broadfield Project Management you worked with as well?
Broadfield, yeah.
I think when I come for a site visit around here with you, I think half of Sheffield seems to know you. Yeah. Pete's a lovely guy. Was he usher at your wedding as well?
He was, yeah.
Yes.
Friend, yeah.
What was that like, working with Pete and building some quite substantial projects in Sheffield?
Yeah, no, fantastic to be fair. Yeah, so me and Pete have been friends for about 18 years. We're in business together for 10 years. And it was only the last 2 years where Pete very much wanted to concentrate on QS and project management, where I'd always got a bit of an itch that needed scratching and fully getting into the development process. So we'd built a lot of good and big projects in Sheffield for private clients, a lot of apartment buildings. So I think when my first opportunity came up in development, which was around 4 or 5 years ago now, it was at that point where I realised I wanted to do my own thing really, but still, yeah, see Pete on a weekly basis. We help each other out in work. A lot of overlap with Sheffield and projects here. So yeah, I've been really concentrating on the development side and our own stuff for the last 2 years properly now.
Okay, so yeah, Catherall Developments was born.
Yes, yeah.
Maybe talk me through, that moment, maybe that first deal, the excitement of the first deal and the reality of, building it out yourself and delivering the exit.
Yeah, I think the first proper deal that I did in the partnership was quite a large property, which looking back now, probably not a lot of people have done it as a first-time development, but it was 49 holiday apartments that we built from scratch. It was full new build, sold them off plan in the Peak District. So then when I did finally go on my own and kind of came out of that partnership, it was obviously going back to a bit of a smaller scale. And it was all kind of down to us. But yeah, the first one was an old bank in Hillsborough, Sheffield. So it was bought as a distressed building. It had been a bank previously for around 30 years, an old HSBC building. And we bought it distressed halfway through. So it was ripping back the items that had been done back to brick, really, and renovating it. And that's now been very successful. Took us 6 months on site, and that's been open from early 2025 and doing very well, tenanted, and 8 nice units.
That kind of takes us back nicely to where we first kind of crossed paths, I suppose. I looked you up on LinkedIn. Obviously, I'd seen the website. I'd seen, pictures of this bank that you were, transforming from commercial to residential. We met down on site. You showed me round, and I was in awe, really, of the detail and care that had gone into that site. Obviously, with that one, the plan was always to, refinance, hold it, rent out. Strong yields on it currently. Is it doing well?
It is doing well, yeah. Originally, the plan was to refurb it and sell it, basically, selling the individual units. There was a few challenges on the site. It was next to a river. It was next to a pub. And it had a...
Is that a challenge, or is that...
It was from a mortgage point of view.
Okay.
Yeah, so from us getting development finance, it actually wasn't such a challenge, but when it came to individuals buying them as mortgages, and about halfway through, I realised that if I have to keep it, then not my plan A, but it's actually turned into a very good plan B. They're getting good, strong rents. We've had a few tenants now, so we've been open 14 months, so a couple of changeovers in tenants, but they've rented out very well, and it's actually turned into a little successful scheme. And we refinanced it onto a longer term mortgage, kept some equity into it, but turned out to a nice development and a little bit of a milestone to show the finish, the detail, and a lot of people do recognise it's on a very busy road in Sheffield. So.
Of course. That leads us nicely on to the last 12 months, I suppose. What have you currently been working on over the last, 12 months?
A little bit of everything, really. We've started a project last July, which was a greenfield site for 22 new houses, which we're currently halfway through. So they're going to be private residential sales. We've got quite a few reservations in already. We've built a £2 million warehouse extension down in Nottingham, which was for a private client. So we've still very much got the contracting arm as well as our own in-house development team. And more recently, we've started a project down in Newmarket, which is a distressed 15 apartments, which we're finishing off for a private client. And then got a good pipeline of work that's due to start at the middle of this year with 43 apartments coming up again in Sheffield, back down in Kelham Island, and 2 nice big detached properties in Wickersley and Rotherham, which we've done the land deal on and selling them when they're completed. So a bit of a mixed bag, really. Yes.
How do you? Obviously, you've got a great team at Catherall Developments. It seems a lot of people within your team are people you've worked with for a long period of time as well. So there's a lot of trust, obviously, there. But how do you manage 3 or 4 projects on the go? Who's key people within your team, and how do you keep control of it, Matt?
Yeah, it's a good question. I ask myself a lot of days, but I think putting the right people in place, really. I think when you do start off, I've known a lot of people in this industry for 20 plus years, so I think you find out you're good, you're bad, and indifferent in the world, and I think keeping them people that you do know and trust close to you massively helps. So some of our subcontractors I've known for 15 plus years. A lot of the people that work for me I've known a number of years. They've worked through from Broadfield, they've worked through from Capita with me. But I think just the key one is putting the right people in place. We recently took on a pre-construction director, Simon, who's started to do a lot more of the acquisition, looking at the land deals. So that's taken quite a bit of pressure off myself. And then in terms of the site work, it's got a very good couple of site managers, project managers who have been with us from the outset, really, kind of through Catherall and through previous companies. So I think the key to it is definitely putting trust in the people that you put in position and letting them grow as well. A lot of people who've been with us have been promoted and been with us for a number of years.
No, fabulous. That takes us on nicely to one of the projects Matt actually missed out, which was obviously a great big 18 unit grade 2 conversion you've done a stone's throw away from the office. Talk us through maybe how you found that deal, how you analysed it. Did you have to change planning on it? And what was your intentions with the quality and the finish, of that project?
Yeah, I think a lot of times things do become available, obviously off market, or you might get an early chance at stuff. East Parade Cathedral View was actually been on the market for a number of years. It was a previous old boys school built circa 200 years ago. It more recently turned into a law court, and it was part of the council's properties. And it had been for sale for about 18 months, and I'd driven past it probably 100 times and never really took much notice. And it was actually my architect who works locally, Chetwynd Architects, and he sent me one day and said, this building is still for sale. So started looking into it. We knew there was our pipeline of work that was coming up. I wanted to kind of fill another gap. And yeah, made some inquiries. And I think the reason that it put a lot of developers off was the size of the units. So a lot of them was very large and financially didn't stack up. So I realised quickly that if we did put in a change to the planning, that we could potentially get some more compact units, but still of a good size, just to make the figures work. And that's exactly what we did. We went back into the planners, who were very supportive of the scheme. It was obviously a very prominent position in Sheffield, a lovely old building. And we worked it through that way with basically remodelling the site.
Perfect. So that process, obviously, although your architect on that occasion found the opportunity, you've put the offer in, you've bought it. What's next?
Yeah. So the biggest one then was, it was obviously an existing building. So it had got partitions, floor, and it was fully working offices up to a few years ago. So October 24, we purchased a property and pretty much immediately started ripping everything out. And then by January 25, we were on site with putting everything back together, really. So it's had a real overhaul of, apart from the upper floors and the stone and the windows that were listed, with everything inside pretty much has been back to brick. Some lovely features that were listed on the ground floor, some old columns that we've retained. The windows, obviously, we've retained. But apart from that, the fit out was, we've still kept some character of the building, of what it needed internally, but a lot of it was new items that we've put in to convert to the apartments.
Of course. I think what I've really known, like working with you on the kind of exit on those units, is your ability to problem solve. I mean, through that design period, I think some units, you'd phone up maybe on a Monday, Tuesday, we're just going to stick an extra cupboard in there. Or it always looks like on your schemes, especially on conversions, that you're trying to get not just the best pound per square foot for yourself, the exit price, but the best for the buyer, the client. What gives you that kind of need and care, to finish your buildings almost like you were buying it yourself?
Yeah, I think the biggest one is probably retaining your customers, because obviously a lot of people who've purchased from us before, on not only this project but previous projects, they do stick around, and they do want more investments and more opportunities. So I always believe from an early stage, if you deliver a good product, you will retain customers and people will want to come back and buy more from you. So I think I always approach it where, what would I see and what would I do if I was buying that property? And we've always tried to add value as opposed to take anything away from it. So if I do see an internal wall that we know we can reduce the width of and get a little bit more footage in there, then I will do that just naturally, so that we're selling a better product to the customers.
Yeah, fabulous. I think what I loved so much about that project as well was, the terrace finishes, one of the units that you put the extra, almost like snug bedroom into, all these additional features. We took about the good points of it. Let's talk about the challenges. On a Grade 2 listed building, there must be lots of challenges that come up through the project. I mean, what do you reckon your biggest expense or over expense which you weren't looking for that came about? And, was there delays, or was it just smooth sailing throughout the process?
Yeah, I think like any refurb project, you come across your skeletons in the closet as such, where there are things that you physically can't see when you buy something. So I think when we got into the nitty gritty, there was things that did come out. We've done a lot of noise attenuation, between the apartments, making the staircases work from a fire strategy point of view, because obviously the staircases were existing, making the split floors work. So we have got a lower ground and an upper ground that we've worked with that were a bit of a challenge. But I think the biggest one was probably making sure we can hit all our EPCs and Part L, making sure we do hit the SAM requirements, as well as keeping within the planning restrictions for such a big building. But yeah, love the challenge. It's finished out as a really nice product and something that will stand the test of time.
Brilliant. And site finding next, it's been a fantastic start of the journey to watch Catherall Developments go, from infancy to now, an experienced outfit. What's in the pipeline? What's next maybe?
Yeah, the biggest one at the minute is project down in Kelham Island, which will be more apartments but new builds. So back to where we've built a lot of projects previously for clients. Very good location from a rental point of view and from a yield point of view for investors. So the next one that will be starting on site imminently will be calling it Kelham Exchange. It'll be 43 apartments with some retail at the ground floor. So that's the next big one to get stuck into. So that'll be an £8 million development starting very soon.
Brilliant. And obviously you have a lot of experience building in Kelham anyway with, I think it was Cotton Works, wasn't it, phase 1? Yeah,
I've done Cotton, Kelham Exchange, which was, Kelham Gate, which was 49 units a number of years ago. So yeah, built about 300 apartments down there. Biggest one being Great Central, which was very, very good, and yields, people rent them very well. So that was 131 units about 4 years ago. So yeah, got a lot of experience of building down there.
Brilliant. And stepping away, obviously we've talked about, the start, the medium term, and obviously the pipeline, what's next. How do you switch off from it? I mean, how do you get away, take a step back? Do you have quite a supportive family, wife, dogs? Like what's the background of Matt Catherall look like?
Yeah, I think one thing I've always had the ability to do is, once that 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night comes, whenever you finish work, just the ability to close off for the night. Because I think if you carry on worrying about your day, then that's where you do start building things up in your mind and you can't switch off. So I've always had from an early age ability to switch off, and especially over weekends. I think your weekends are very important, family time. My wife does work in the business. She's our finance director, but I think we're very good at not speaking work at home, but just managing to chill out. We love us holidays. We're going skiing next week for 5 nights. But knowing that when you do go away, you're leaving the company in a safe pair of hands, really, because obviously we are.
And your dog, and your dog,
and the
course.
Dog, yeah. So
congratulations! Last year, obviously, you got married. Was it Octoberish kind of time, or?
Yes, it was. It was.
Don't worry, I won't put you on the pressure for a date. We don't know if your wife's watching. Obviously got married, honeymoon, I presume, and a dog instead of is that the first step to new beginnings? Talk us through it.
I think scarily, yes. Yeah, we got married in August and went pretty much straight on our honeymoon to Vegas. So that was good experience, and a time to chill out and remotivate. And we managed to get away at Christmas as well. So yeah, very much ready for the year ahead and enjoying the challenges that come with development, really.
That's brilliant. Well, Matt, probably just close on. Thanks so much for having us down, talking us through your story, what's coming. It's been a pleasure to sit down with you for half an hour and have a chat. Thanks for watching another episode of Inside Property. Lots to follow up. Have a good day.
Thank you. Cheers.